You ended where?
At occiput.
And how many seconds for this skill?
14, 18.
And what was your analograph setting? This one, you gotta know what the analograph is.
I don't know. I don't know.
Turn around here. It says analograph.
Oh, the high speed. High speed.
And if you don't remember everything, just go back and look.
I can actually do that?
That's your property.
High
You
speed.
got ownership of this prop in here.
Time marker, high speed.
Okay?
Well,
And what's the protocol to establish your analysis?
3 scans, 20 minutes apart,
Could take.
24 to 48 hours.
Okay. Now, if I were critiquing your demonstrations, when you place the thermocouples on the neck, you don't engage your analgraph until the needle gets happy. You don't turn it on and then wait for it to get happy. Now, the last part, can you explain to me what you were doing at the top of the occiput? If I ask you, what are you doing? Would you tell me? Could you tell
Yeah,
me?
the
Tell me.
dig, right?
Dig in and
Drop.
down. Okay. Now, obviously it didn't look like that from my angle, but yes, that's exactly what
Okay.
you did. Okay?
this had a bad angle.
Yeah, over here. Perfect.
Now, other than that, you did very well. Very good job. And that's it. It's not going to be any more sophisticated than that. All right, now while I have her here, I'm going to go into the verbal nervous scope and query her like I'm going to query the rest of you. So I will say to you, let's talk about the nervous scope full spine scan. I'll let you get your bearings. And then I'll say, what type of analysis you trying to establish with that scan?
The full one?
Full nervous scope.
Right?
And you would start that scan where?
Sacrum?
At the VP.
At the
You would
VP.
end it where?
Oh, the full. The sacrum.
Okay. And what exactly would you be looking for on that nervous scope when you perform the scan?
The
Deflection of the needle.
deflection of
If
the
you see a significant deflection, what are you going to do?
market.
Mark what? What's that do? What's it do?
Does it on here?
Yeah. The 2 o'clock button marks the paper, and what else?
And we don't we mark the...
You mark the back on the
Yeah.
side deflection. And then I'm going to say to you, does marking the patient's back and marking the paper with the 2 o'clock button confirm your analysis? What does?
X-ray.
2 swipes.
Two.
Now you tell me what a swipe is.
I do it again, and I do it...
Again's not enough. It means you go back to what? The mark on the back, and you start where?
In the vertebra.
A segment above, and you pass it to a segment below 2 times. That's what a 2 swipe is, and that's the definition of a swipe. Okay? That's it. That's the verbal. Who wants to be the demonstrator over there? You already have 2 of them down. We might as well demonstrate the titro.
All right, who knows how to do it?
Can they be immediately one after
Ask that again, so I understand what you're asking.
Can you swipe 2 times in a row without?
You have a waiting
There's
time
no
between them?
protocol with the swipes?
Yeah, but here's what they do in the real world. If I'm going to use that in the real world, I'm not using an analograph. I'm going down, I see a deflection, I go back and swipe right there. If it's there 3 times, I mark it and move on. So yeah, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to go here, swipe here, swipe here, swipe here, and then go back and swipe here, swipe here. Yeah, it's done right there, if that's what you're asking.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Actually, when you're gonna start in the cervical,
Yes.
you don't need to wait certain time of beeps. You just, if you actually see the deflection of the needle and you press your 9 o'clock button, you just start when the first beep. You don't need to wait for 2 beeps like you did in this one.
No. And here's the thing, when you get the needle to get happy, that means it stopped deflecting. And it isn't going to stop at 0. If it stops at 0, the battery's not on. So when it stops left or right at 0, you hit the 9 o'clock button. That beep that you hear when you hit the 9 o'clock button, it's not going to make a mark on the paper, but you can still start there. I really don't care. I happen to wait till the 2nd beep. That's just my personal reference. Okay? And so I hit it, it beeps, and then I hit the first beep, and then I go.
Okay.
So that's me. Believe me, you got 7 to 9 as your gap. And I know, because I actually count. You're going, really? I actually count. So I know how many's on that paper before I even ask you. In fact, I pretty much know everything that you sucked at before I ask you. So my suggestion is, don't try to pretend like I didn't see it. Because I would much rather you correct your mistakes than to be mistake-free, because like anything else, it's like, you don't have as many trials as this. What do you got, like a week and a half of trials? Not that it's rocket science, but if you, for instance, if you said, oh, doc, I didn't go enough beeps. Fine, will I make you do it over? Maybe, but I might not, because you already know you didn't go enough beeps. Okay, when you know your mistakes, you'll lose less points. If you don't know that you screwed up, like if I ask you on the graph and I'll say, what's the matter with this graph? And you don't know that there's not enough beeps, and you don't know that there's no heat line on there, you'll lose more than if you said, it was too short because I only had 6, and there's no heat line, I'm going to turn the battery on. Little things like that, okay? Are you the patient over there, Ron?
I can't be.
Well, who's going to do the doc?
Stan.
Stan, you can do the doc?
Yes, I don't know it very well.
Okay, so close that
I don't
screen.
know this at all.
Yeah, you have to know the equipment, please. When I say do a titron, you go, what's a titron? That's probably not a good idea. Okay, so Stan's coming in, Ron's the patient, and he's sitting in his chair, and I look at Stan, I say, Stan, I need you to demonstrate for me a titron full spine scan. So I'm gonna say to her, go ahead.
Okay, so you're gonna hit quick scan right here. Do you
Well,
want
I
to
might change that for you next week for the test.
Okay,
Don't freak out, it's just gonna enter in a different way, so.
all right, so what you're gonna do is, you don't want these to touch the skin, you just want the rollers to
You
touch
see
the
how
skin.
Stan is? I really don't care about all that. She's gonna tell you.
Said just
that.
put the-
Okay, and then you're gonna
Just
hit
the
it right here,
rollers.
and then click it for 2 clicks, and then you're gonna roll it up for 15 seconds, 15 to 20 seconds.
Twenty, 21,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
All the way up to the occiput. Okay, and then he's gonna ask us what this is.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet? Okay.
If you look at me, I'll say, what do you wanna do?
Okay, so I can keep going. So then I'm gonna hit F and go to the faucet, and then you're gonna measure right here with the right side on both sides, but do the right side first.
F,
So.
okay.
Okay.
All right, now I'll start asking. I'm gonna say to Stan, what type of analysis, Stan, you trying to establish with this skin?
We're trying to establish a break
And you
analysis.
started your scan where?
I started at the BP, or the, I'm sorry, at the sacrum,
Anyway, anywhere.
at the occiput,
Now, how many seconds for this scan?
15 to 20.
What's on the screen right now?
On the screen, it tells us the heat differentiation, and it's 0.68 to the left, which means that the left is going to be cooler than the right
Heat differentiation of what?
of his process.
Faucet, very
Yeah.
good. And the hot side is only shown,
Wait, the hot side's gonna be the pink or the green?
green.
The green, okay, so this is the green.
It only
which
shows
is
hot side.
Okay, okay, and then after that, we're gonna hit escape,
Okay,
right?
well, if you want to, I wouldn't hit escape. Go ahead, you can hit escape.
I'll do what you say to do.
Okay, close that faucet screen. Now what's on the screen?
This is the original scan that we took, so do you want me
What's
to?
it called? What kind of graph is it?
A line graph.
Line graph. What's a line graph?
It tells us the.
I can't get in there.
breakers of the temperature, yeah.
And what's a significant temperature?
More than 0.5,
0.5 degrees, what?
above or below Celsius.
Celsius.
Above or below.
Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Can you show me where the 0.5 degree indicators are on the screen?
Here's 0.5 right
Okay.
here.
Is there another graph you can show me?
Yes.
Go ahead, show it to
Go ahead. Yes, there we go.
me. What kind of graph is this?
This is a
B.
bar graph.
Bar graph.
Yeah.
And what's bar graph?
It shows us a full spine. which is
Same thing as a line
same
graph,
thing.
different graph. And then I'm gonna say to you, does the line graph and the bar graph confirm your analysis?
No,
What does?
NCM.
Go ahead and demonstrate the NCM, and I'll say, close that bar graph, close that line graph, click on NCM and demonstrate.
M as in Mary. Okay.
It is
so we're
less
gonna-
FBM.
Okay, and then on this one, I honestly don't know what to do.
Okay, this is the one where you're gonna rescan starting from the sacrum, you're going to the occiput, and you're listening. And you're listening for a beat. And it's only gonna beep when Ron's temperature hits 0.5 degrees, left to right.
Okay.
And when it hits that 0.5 degrees and you hear the beep, you're gonna look up, because it's gonna tell you what side.
Okay.
And then you would simulate a mark on that side and that level.
Okay.
And you're gonna run that from the sacrum to the occiput, and I'm gonna say, what's the time frame for that one? And there is none. You just do it till you cover.
You just do it, okay.
That's the NCO.
And then do you need to wait for 2 beeps when you
Yeah.
let them know? Alright.
And you look at the screen now, where would you mark, Stan?
Right?
Yeah, you just keep going. Once I know that you know what you're doing, I usually don't make you do the whole thing. Because all I'm looking for is, do you know where you're gonna run the skin from? Do you know what you're looking for when you run
And that's on the right.
it? And
So this point.
how many seconds is the skin?
This is on the left.
Do you
So
wait
all I
till,
would- go
do
ahead.
we till it's done beeping to keep going up, or just keep going up?
Well, you would say, I would mark here, and then you would keep going. If it keeps beeping, you're not gonna keep marking. If it quits and starts again, then you mark where it starts.
Okay, okay.
But, you know, I'm not gonna be that strict on that, because it's like anything else. I'm not exactly sure you're ever gonna use that mode
Yeah.
anywhere on this campus after my class. All I want you to understand is, all I'm trying to do with this is take Ron's line graph and bar graph and transfer it to his back to get the exact spinal level. That's the intention of the NCO. And that's it. And that's the 3 assessments. This ain't rocket science. So you know everything now that I'm gonna assess you on, how I'm gonna assess you. Now it's just a matter of you being comfortable with your demonstration of regulation. And those of you that have had your hands on, when you go home tonight or sometime between now and when you're testing, just go to your happy place, lay down, watch yourself do it through all those processing. Because you know what? Once you have the actual skill locked into your head, you don't have to have the instruments. You just play the loop. And that's why I say, you can have a lot of practice